On April 16, 2025, the CEO of ASML takes an analyst question on an investor call. The question is about China. His answer is one sentence. It's always possible to generate some EUV light, but it would take China many years to build an EUV machine. 15 months later, Monday, July 27, 2026, ASML stock drops 8% intraday. Over 2 days, roughly 60 billion euros in market value evaporates. Except that day, nobody was talking about EUV machines. Here's what you're going to understand in the next few minutes. What China has actually rebuilt, piece by piece, to stop needing ASML. What's still missing. And why the thing blocking that entire chain right now isn't a machine, isn't a patent, and isn't an engineer. Start with what happened on July 27th. That morning, the American outlet The Information publishes a story. A state-backed company in Shanghai has started producing immersion DUV lithography machines. Machines China has had to import until now. The report doesn't name the company. Reuters names it the next day. Shanghai Aishengna Electronic Technology Group, and here's the profile. Founded August 2023, registered capital 7 billion yuan, about $1 billion. 2 shareholders, both state-owned. No website, no public communications of any kind. It shares a Shanghai address with another lithography firm, Yuliang Sheng, whose teams it absorbed, along with the teams from SMEE, a company nobody had heard of, that didn't exist 3 years ago, had just wiped 60 billion euros off the global lithography monopoly. Now the numbers. 5 machines planned this year, around 20 next year. Against that, ASML is targeting capacity of roughly 130 immersion DUV machines in 2026 alone. 5 against 130. Analysts moved fast. Bank of America called the sell-off an overreaction. JP Morgan called the drop disproportionate. Even granting the 20 machines in 2027, the revenue impact lands around 1.4 billion euros, 2.4% of group sales. By that Thursday, the stock had clawed back nearly 7%. But here's something very few people said clearly that week. DUV is not EUV, it's the previous generation. On DUV, ASML has long-standing competitors, Canon and Nikon. On EUV, the machine that prints the most advanced chips on Earth, ASML holds 100% of the market. 100%. And on EUV that week, nothing happened. Nothing new, because that story started long before and a lot more quietly. It doesn't begin with a machine. It begins with a man who, in April 2021, handed back his badge in the Netherlands. His name is Lin Nan. From October 2015 to April 2021, he works at ASML Research in the Netherlands. His specialty, light sources. He's the competence owner for metrology light sources, which means he works on the hardest subsystem in the entire machine. But go back further. Before ASML, Lin Nan was trained by Anne Lewillier. That name might mean nothing to you. She won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 2023 for her work on attosecond light pulses, and Lin Nan got that training on a Marie Skłodowska-Curie Fellowship, a European Union program. Sit with that for a second. The man now leading part of China's EUV light source effort was trained by a future Nobel laureate on European funding and then employed for 6 years by ASML. April 2021, he goes home. Through China's national recruitment program for talent based overseas. He becomes deputy director of the State Key Laboratory of Ultra-Intense Laser Science at the Shanghai Institute of Optics and Fine Mechanics under the Chinese Academy of Sciences. In 18 months, his team files 8 EUV-related patents. Now come back to that sentence from April 16, 2025. Many years. At the moment it's spoken, Lin Nan has been home for 4 years, and what his team publishes the following month forces part of the industry to redo its math. If this is the kind of investigation you're into, hit subscribe. This is exactly what we dig into here. Now let's look at what they built. First, the light. And this is where everything starts, because without it, none of the rest matters. An EUV machine prints with light at a wavelength of 13.5 nanometers. The problem is, you can't buy a 13.5 nanometer laser. It doesn't exist. You have to manufacture it. ASML's solution is spectacular. Every second, the machine fires 50,000 microscopic tin droplets into a vacuum. A first laser flattens each droplet. A second one, a far more powerful CO2 laser, hits that exact same droplet. The tin becomes plasma at roughly 200,000 degrees. As it cools, that plasma emits the light thereafter. 50,000 moving targets, hit every second without missing one. It took ASML 20 years to make that work. Lin Nan's team didn't copy it. They swapped the CO2 laser for a solid-state laser. The result, published in March 2025 in a Chinese scientific journal, a conversion efficiency of 3.42%. Commercial systems run around 5.5, so it's below, but it works, and the team believes it can get close to 6. Meanwhile, the Harbin Institute of Technology is working a completely different path. No droplets in flight, 2 metal discs rotating slowly through a bath of liquid tin, charged capacitors, and an electric arc across the tin vapor. Same light. Radically different engineering. And here's the detail that makes this part of the story interesting. ASML tried that approach 20 years ago. It was abandoned because it topped out around 30 watts, nowhere near what a factory needs. So China's bet comes down to one sentence. What was impossible in 2006 may not be impossible in 2026. Now the real gap, and I'm not going to dress it up, Chinese sources today produce somewhere between 100 and 150 watts. ASML hit 250 watts back in 2017. Its current benchmark is 600. And in early 2026, the company announced a 1,000-watt system, 150 against 600. On that component alone, China is roughly where ASML stood 10 years ago. But generating the light was the easy problem, because then you have to carry it to the silicon, and at 13.5 nanometers, no lens works. Glass doesn't bend that light, it swallows it. Every material absorbs it. So you need mirrors, not ordinary mirrors. Stacks of dozens of layers of molybdenum and silicon, atoms thick. Every reflection loses at least 30% of the light. After a full mirror chain, only a fraction of the original beam is left, which means there is no margin for error. One company on Earth knows how to make them, Zeiss, German. It has supplied ASML's projection optics since 1983, 43 years. This isn't an invention you can copy. It's 4 decades of polishing, coating, measuring, and aligning. China's answer is the Changchun Institute of Optics, and an engineering trade-off worth understanding. If your mirrors are less efficient and your source is dimmer, you have one variable left: size. Bigger collectors, a longer optical path, wider mirrors. Which is probably why, according to Reuters, the Chinese prototype fills nearly an entire factory floor. An ASML scanner is about the size of a school bus, and here the story splits in two. I'm going to give you both versions. According to that same Reuters report, published in December 2025, the prototype was assembled in a high-security lab in Shenzhen by former ASML engineers by taking apart an existing ASML machine. Tom's Hardware adds that some employees were reportedly issued false identities so the project wouldn't be detected. The other reading, argued by researchers who follow this closely, is that China is doing both at once. Reverse engineering on some subsystems, genuinely original development on others. Lin Nan's solid-state laser doesn't exist anywhere else. As for timing, the sources Reuters cites put a date on when this prototype makes real chips. 2030. So let's grant it. Grant the light, grant the mirrors, grant the engineers, and the thousands of researchers. There is still one thing no laboratory on Earth can manufacture. It's helium, the stuff in party balloons. Why helium and nothing else? Because it does 3 jobs at once. It pulls heat out of the hottest parts of the process. It reacts with nothing. Not the optics, not the silicon. And its atoms are so small, it's used to find leaks no other gas will reveal. There is no substitute, no helium, no chip production. Now China's position. It produces about 3 million cubic meters a year, 1.6% of world supply, 6th place, and it imports more than 85% of what it uses. Where did that helium come from? Mostly Qatar, 1/3 of global supply, and more than half of China's imports. Except Qatar's Ras Laffan facilities were hit during the Middle East conflict, and Russia, the other major supplier, imposed its own export controls in April. So on July 10, 2026, China's Ministry of Commerce and its Customs Administration banned all helium exports, effective immediately. Look at that date, July 10th. That is 17 days before the news that knocked 8% off ASML. Same country, same supply chain, same strategic dependency. Almost nobody connected the two. So we could stop right there. China rebuilt nearly the entire chain, and it's stuck on a gas it doesn't control, except that reasoning rests on an assumption, and the assumption may be wrong. The assumption is that China needs to match ASML, Look at what SMIC does today. To print its most advanced chips without EUV, the company uses what's called quadruple patterning. The same silicon wafer goes through the lithography machine 4 times. It works. But yields fall below 50%, costs explode, and eventually physics stops you. So the real question isn't whether the Chinese machine is as good as ASML's. The real question is whether it beats running the same wafer through 4 times. And that bar is a lot lower. There's one last piece, and it might be the most telling. In April 2026, American lawmakers introduced a bill called the Match Act, designed to stop ASML from shipping a single immersion DUV machine to China. 3 months later, China announced it knew how to build them. The entire logic of export controls rests on one assumption: that what you block cannot be rebuilt. Every year the blockade holds, that assumption gets tested. Christophe Fouquet said many years. He may well be right. Reuters sources say 2030 for the first real chips. Several analysts say a decade. But notice what has already changed in the conversation. Nobody is asking whether China will build an EUV machine anymore. They're asking when. One note before I let you go. This script was finished on August 3rd. If something has broken since then, you know more than I do, and I'd like to hear it. So I'll leave it with you. Did export controls protect a technological lead, or did they fund the construction of a competitor that, without them, would never have existed? Tell me in the comments. I read all of them. And if you want the next chapter of this story, subscribe. See you soon.